Friends, good morning. Come on in, type in freedom now. I have some breaking news to cover with you today on this Wednesday, April 29th. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law. Some very important things are happening with immigration that we really need to talk about briefly this morning. So come on in, type in freedom now. Be sure to share this live session with your feed if you're joining this morning from Facebook. Instagram and the other platforms will be seeing this a little bit later on today. But McBean Immigration TV, come on in, say hello, type in freedom now, wherever you're joining from. Let me know where you're joining from and that you are here. Let's be interactive today. If you have an immigration problem, friends, certainly reach out to McBean Law at 914-898-9488 for a private consultation with an attorney. Type in freedom now. It's good to see you guys. Come on in. Hey there, Juba. Faye, thank you so much for being here today. Share this video, guys, with others because you never know who needs to know this very important information. Come on in and say freedom now, freedom now. We're going to talk about, I'm going to go right into it and talk about breaking news involving USCIS and the fact that USCIS is pausing more cases, okay? More cases. And I'm not referring to the travel ban 39 countries for which we have our lawsuit out there filed in Boston, and a new lawsuit will be filed very soon for round two. I'm referring to everyone else, non-travel ban countries. We became aware of this problem this week through the American Immigration Lawyers Association and other members of the association who have been reporting that at various USCIS field offices, they've been informed, and asylum offices, they've been informed that the cases are being placed on an adjudication hold, H-O-L-D. And the reason for this, which USCIS, by the way, has not announced this officially yet, but the reason for this adjudication hold is because they're doing new vetting steps and procedures, okay? New vetting procedures are being implemented at USCIS, meaning that more background checks are happening on applicants. And I'm referring to applicants, friends, for the green card as well as asylum. But according to the AILA alert that we received yesterday, they say here that this hold could be much broader, impacting all USCIS adjudications. Okay, so AILA is reporting that that adjustment of status cases, asylum cases, and possibly more case types, so to speak, are impacted by this new adjudication hold that USCIS is applying to non-travel ban country applicants. This announcement also says that AILA has learned this information, obviously through very credible sources, that this hold is connected to new security vetting processes at USCIS that took effect on April 27th, 2026. And this new vetting process will require that folks who have a pending application would need to go back in and submit biometrics, more fingerprints, even though they had already been fingerprinted and an FBI report has already been generated based on their fingerprints that are on file. This new vetting process will require them to go back in and resubmit fingerprints. And this is likely to impact almost all pending cases, with the possible exception for naturalization applicants with scheduled oath interviews. So again, this is resubmitting fingerprints for all pending applications. And friends, these are cases, these are fingerprints that went into the system before April 27th. They're going to be asking folks to come back in and do more fingerprints. And what's really alarming as well is that new cases are going to be really impacted by this, because once the old cases, so to speak, those that were submitted before April 27th, once they're finished with the vetting process for all of those cases, then they're going to touch the new cases. Then those new cases would be required to submit fingerprints. So it's going to obviously delay the process. I'm not going to show you the entire release that Ayla shared here. I just gave you a clip here of the title of the alert that they sent to the members, so that for those of you who want to know what the source is and where this information is coming from, this is it right here, okay, from Ayla. New vetting process at USCIS likely resulting in a hold on many adjudications. So you should be aware of that if you're experiencing a slowdown at USCIS, or if you receive another biometrics notice. Do not be confused by it. Just understand that that new biometrics notice is connected to the this new vetting procedure that is placing these cases on hold so that they could collect more fingerprints on individuals. So what we don't know quite yet, we don't know if the biometrics and vetting will be more expanded than what is currently in place. We don't know that yet. And also, we don't know really what the rationale for this is. We're waiting for USCIS to issue a statement about this so that we could understand where this is coming from, and of course challenge it, because what this means for many people is further unreasonable delays, okay? Further unreasonable delays to your case. If your case is being unreasonably held up, friends, just keep in mind that you still have an option of filing a writ of mandamus to force the government to take that next step in your case. That is a very aggressive next step that some individuals should take for sure, to challenge the unreasonable delays with their cases. So here's that's the latest. Spread the word, and be sure to reach out to your immigration lawyer if you have one. If you have your biometrics notice again and you're very concerned about this, speak to your lawyer. And also, obviously, now you know what's really going on. So that's the first big thing that I really wanted you to understand today. The second has to do with the embassy process, what's happening at consulates across the United States, across the country currently. You might have seen this morning we shared a carousel. We shared a carousel on social media about the fact that the State Department has sent out a new directive to their post all across the globe, informing them that they need to now incorporate additional questions when they're interviewing folks for a visa, a non-immigrant visa to come to the United States. Specifically, they will be asking folks, number one, have you experienced harm or mistreatment in your country of nationality? That's one. And then secondly, did you fear harm or mistreatment in returning to your country of nationality? So this is an April 28th directive that the State Department issued to their posts, telling them you've got to add new screening questions, these two new screening questions to non-immigrant visa applicants. And if individuals answer yes to either one of these questions, most likely they will be denied for the visa to come to the United States as a visitor or tourist, or even for business, really. So what's happening here? Well, certainly we know that they are trying to really squeeze the asylum process. And there are many applicants for asylum who come to the United States through a visa process, and then they apply for asylum. So the administration is now trying to get ahead of this process by requiring individuals to answer this question. And if they get their visa, if they say no to these questions and they are approved for their visa and they come to the United States, then they apply for asylum. Well, that's a very fast, easy denial of their asylum case. Why? Because they've misrepresented. It's a very, they've clearly said that they have no harm in their country. They were not mistreated, or they don't fear any harm or mistreatment in their country if they were to return to their country of nationality. So this will have an impact for sure on individuals who will be seeking asylum in the United States. So this is actually also very big, huge. The embassy process, they're over the next few months, friends, we will be hearing, I believe, more news from me and other people who report out on immigration about more changes at the embassy level, because they're trying to slow down immigration. They're trying to slow down the legal process of bringing people to the United States as both visitors and green card holders. The next big push certainly will be on the public charge side for the embassies to weed out a lot of applicants from the being eligible to come here through the green card process. That's going to be very, very big, and that is coming soon. And then on the green card process here in the United States, for those going through adjustment of status, I think also the next big push will be on the public charge side as well, proven self-sufficiency. So just know that on the policy side, they are really trying to squeeze people on all sides. For many of you, you will probably be able to make it through, okay, unharmed and with your benefit, but you have to have strategy and you have to understand what's going on and work with a credible and competent lawyer. It doesn't have to be us. There are a lot of other lawyers out there who care deeply about what's happening with immigration and who could guide you through this process. Find the one that works best for you. Now, so that's the embassy process. So prepare yourself for the embassy interview. Do not be caught off guard. Do not be blindsided by these two new questions. Have you experienced harm or mistreatment in your country of nationality? And do you fear harm or mistreatment in returning to your country of nationality? Know ahead of time what's going on and prepare yourself to answer accordingly. And thirdly, friends, today is also a big day in Washington, D.C. on the immigration front. The U.S. Supreme Court will be considering temporary protected status for Haitians and Syrians. This issue about revoking TPS is before the U.S. Supreme Court with arguments today, and the decision will likely come out in June or July, according to the New York Times. But today, the U.S. Supreme Court will be hearing argument on this issue about Haitian TPS and TPS for Syria. So let's stay tuned. If you have an opportunity to listen to some of the arguments, you should definitely do so. I won't be able to listen to the arguments because I have a fast-moving day, but I will try to synthesize some of the information for you later on. So guys, these are the important things that are happening this week with immigration that you really needed. I wanted to talk with you about. Again, USCIS is putting in place a broader pause or adjudication hold on adjustment of status and asylum cases, but AILA, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, thinks that it will be a broader pause affecting pretty much many more applicants. And these are individuals who are not connected to a travel ban country. So basically everyone else. Secondly, the U.S. embassies have been instructed to ask some questions that are asylum that are the intent is to weed individuals out of the asylum process and to deny quick cases very quickly of asylum applicants who come to the United States. So those two new questions are in place at U.S. embassies and posts across the globe. And then thirdly, the U.S. Supreme Court is hearing the arguments today about TPS ending for Haitians and Syrians. Now, I will answer a few questions before I go today. I have a very, very busy work day ahead of me. Let's go back up here and let's see what questions do you have. Let's go up here. Can someone who has asylum pending travel within the United States? And this individual also has TPS. Your travel domestically inside the United States is probably fine. On Monday, we talked about a DACA holder, however, who was arrested last summer. And while trying to travel domestically, she was detained, placed in removal, and a habeas got her out of detention. And her case went, the immigration judge, ended her removal process because she has DACA. And the government challenged that to the BIA, Board of Immigration Appeals, and the Board of Immigration Appeals made a shocking ruling that said that just because she has DACA doesn't mean that the immigration judge should use that reason alone to terminate removal proceedings, although DACA is deferred action. So that you have a case like that, but for the most part, most individuals can travel, but it is at your own risk. And I told you guys on Monday, make your own decision about travel. Make your own decision about travel. Okay, does this go for people inside of the United States who are trying to adjust their status? The adjudication hold that I discuss is about those inside of the United States seeking adjustment of status. Okay. Anything new for the 39 travel ban countries? Travel ban. So the travel ban is still in effect. There was a real terrific decision out of Maryland last week, and that decision, preliminary injunction was granted to the individuals, the plaintiffs in that lawsuit, and it's very exciting. We're going to get this news before in our proceedings very soon. So the plaintiffs of our Boston 39 country lawsuit, you'll see some updates related to this as you're tracking the case. You'll see this filing, but to advise the court about this amazing decision, and we're going to use this decision in the new 39 country lawsuit that we're filing as well. Today is the final day. We did experience a technical glitch late last night. With regard to the onboarding, because you guys are like, you really want this. And so you kind of broke our system a little bit. So, but the glitch, it's been fixed. And, but today is the final day. Okay. Final day to make your payment and to submit your eligibility form, I should say. So, today's the final day at 10 o'clock p.m. Tonight, Eastern Time, we will be taking down the onboarding link and process for our round 2 for the 39 country USCIS adjudication pause. If you are out there and you're going to be suffering from the new pause that I discussed today, and you're not from a travel ban country, certainly speak with an attorney. You could also speak with us down the road about a possible mandamus for you due to unreasonable delay. We're waiting to see USCIS put out their announcement about this new vetting pause that's in effect. And I just want to see what the rationale is. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's go down a little bit to questions here. I'm wondering about Jamaica. At one point, they were listed. Now I'm not seeing them. Well, I have not heard any news about Jamaica or any country being removed from the 75 country pause. Have you seen, where are you seeing or not seeing? You saw Jamaica as part of the list and now it's not. Love to be educated on that. Please provide a resource or you could email our office at info@mcbeanlaw.com with that source. And we'll look into it certainly as well. But to my knowledge, no country has been removed from the 75 country immigrant visa pause. Nothing new on the U visa at this time. I do not have anything new there. Any news on the 75 country immigrant visa pause? No news on that. No news on that one. When you say that the administration is making plans to prove self-sufficiency for green card applicants, what are we expecting? So this is coming from Director Ed Lowe himself, right, who spoke recently about the fact that green card applicants will need to prove that they could take care of themselves. Self-sufficiency is the term that he used, and that's a very familiar term from Trump 1.0, where they had that form for self-sufficiency for green card applicants to prove all these financial and educational background information during the adjustment of status process to prove that they could take care of themselves independent of the sponsor. Okay. So I think they're going to bring that back in a stronger way for green card applicants to prove that they could take care of themselves. Okay, let's go down just a little bit here, just a little bit. Hello there. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. I see some wonderful familiar faces. Thank you so much for being here from Facebook. Um, Is this new law affecting people who are already in the United States and apply for green card? There is no new law. There's no new law yet, okay? This is not a law. Congress makes the laws. We haven't seen any new rule come out of USCIS specifically about what I've addressed. What I've shared with you earlier is from the American Immigration Lawyers Association. They sent a practice alert to the lawyers who are members of the association that USCIS is likely placing a hold on many applications, adjustment of status, asylum, and they also believe, based on the announcement here, that it could be a much broader hold impacting all USCIS adjudications. So that's, and that USCIS has not officially announced this public hold yet. They've learned through various credible sources that this hold is a result of a new security vetting process that took effect on April 27th. Thank you guys. Let's see. Let's go down a little bit here. What does the 221G notice mean that I just got? So you've been placed in administrative processing. Most likely it's related to perhaps the 75 country immigrant visa pause. That's what they're doing now. They're just placing people in that hole. It's not it's not that they've denied your application or denied your process necessarily. It's really at this moment in time, we're refusing to issue the visa in this moment and this time for this reason. That's really what it's about. And once you cure the problem or they lift the hold, then you can get your visa if you have a good case, a credible case in front of them and eligible for the visa. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Let's go back up here to see if I've missed anything. Let's go back up. When are they going to review VAWA cases? So as you know, before the Trump administration took office, the Biden administration had started a process of interviewing VAWA applicants and looking deeper into the VAWA cases because of fraud, a lot of fraud out there with VAWA VAWA applicants, so to speak. And so they are vetted. Those cases typically take about 3 years. My understanding is that they've slowed down a little bit with the processing. With this adjudication pause here that I discuss, according to Ayla, the hold can impact all USCIS adjudications. We'll see. We'll see. Let's go up here a little bit. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. I've heard that next month, some lawyers say that the pause on the 75 countries will be lifted. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be lifted. I have no idea. We have our lawsuit out there. I have no idea. We're trying to help those who have decided to take this type of step. I don't know. It would be great if it could be lifted next month. Earlier in the year, I shared with you guys that I thought it was going to be a 60-day pause based on a statement from a diplomat, a foreigner who is a diplomat, but any event. And so I hesitated really in the beginning, and many of you who watch me regularly know this to be true. I didn't want to jump in so quickly with the pause for the immigrant visa. I didn't want to jump in so quickly. And as a result of thinking, oh, it's just going to be a 60-day. But then it became clear it's indefinite, and a lot of you are really suffering from this and put a lot of pressure on me. That was the truth. You put so much pressure on me, I had no choice but to break with my original thinking. So, but in any event, we're fighting, we're pushing back for those from 52 countries. We've selected those from 52 countries to be part of our lawsuit that we filed in Washington, D.C. Thank you. Let's see. What do you mean? What do you mean by the NVC to grant you a visa if you have a strong case? Well, I mean that if you have proven that you're eligible for the visa, have you proven that you're eligible for that visa? And based on your background, they should make that discretionary, judgment call, so to speak, to issue the visa. Did you give them everything they needed and required to show that you are eligible for it? So that's really what I mean by a strong case, proving your point. But now our government is going to require applicants on all sides to go a step beyond the norm to really prove that they're eligible for the visa. Okay, let's go down here. Thank you. Yes, I've discussed the Maryland federal, the preliminary injunction, which we really love that decision, and we're working on something related to that right now with regard to our cases. So that was such good news. Let's see, Sherry would like there to be 700 likes. Sherry, what's important is, thank you for that, trying to get the engagement going. What's important is that people are here. A lot of people are here and they're listening and getting the information. If you're now joining, I shared with you earlier that USCIS, according to the American Immigration Lawyers Association, AILA, USCIS seems to be putting in place a new, broader adjudication hold on cases, the green card cases, the asylum cases, and potentially all other types of applications. And they're doing this because of a new vetting screening protocol that they have in place, or process that will require folks with pending applications to resubmit fingerprints to them, despite the fact that they already have your fingerprints and have already ran your FBI background reports. Apparently, they have something new in place. And as a result of this new screening, the cases are being placed on hold. They're not moving forward. And then certainly new cases are on hold as well. So this is what they're learning, and they wanted us to know about it. Ayla, they wanted us to know about it. Their members are reporting out on it, and I think you should know about it as well, because this is impacting you and your life. So this is a broader hold that they're putting on these cases due to some vetting process. And you have a recourse. Some of you will have a recourse, which is to file a mandamus due to unreasonable delays with your case. Is Sierra Leone still on the ban list? To my knowledge, yes. Yes. Thank you, guys. I have been waiting a long time for my green card decision. It's an I-45 marriage case. I also have an approved I-130. This is very similar to what some of the lawyers on the listserv through AILA are also saying, that some of their clients had been interviewed months ago, or they had received a request for evidence in RFE and they responded, yet it's like crickets from USCIS, silence, nothing, no movement. And that's what they're reporting out on and talking about. So we do see that there is a slowdown happening there at USCIS. Okay, let's see. Let's see. If you apply, this is a little lengthy. If you apply, but I'll read it. If you apply for your stepson in one of the Caribbean countries and his application was approved, when he goes to the embassy for his appointment, what kind of questions would they be asking him? And will he be interviewed without his stepmother? Obviously when a child or a teenager, I should say, is before the U.S. Embassy, they do ask questions about the relationship with the step parent. Do you know what's your step parent's name? Do you know where you're going to be living when you go to the United States? It just really depends on the age of the child. 17-year-old, they could ask regular adult-like questions, and I've seen it happen in some instances where it's it's dependent on how that teenager, that older teenager, answers the question. It could give rise to suspicion related the bona fide nature of the marriage between the step parent and the biological parent. So I think that older teenager should be prepared for the interview as well. Most times they don't get into a lot of questions, obviously, with teenagers, but I only, we see the harder facts. So sometimes you hear me talk about these scenarios that seem really out there, and that's because we see the harder stuff. Thank you, guys. What is the next step after the biometrics? After the biometric, with respect to the pause that I've discussed here, I don't know. I would expect that they would continue processing your case, right? Because what would be the rationale for holding up someone's case if you're not a member of the travel ban list and you've done what they've told you to do, which is to come back in for a second biometrics, and nothing has changed. You hadn't gone out and committed a very serious crime for which they need to be concerned about since the last time you gave them your fingerprints. They should move forward with your case, give you an interview, or send you an approval notice, right? That is what I would expect. That would be reasonable. But we will see if they have anything else up their sleeve after that point. Friends, thank you so much for being with me. Watch the replay about the news I've shared about the pause. that based on a new vetting process and the embassy questions that are now out there before U.S. embassies that folks need to be aware of. And then certainly follow what's going on with the U.S. Supreme Court today with regard to Haitian TPS and Syrian TPS, temporary protected status. I will be back before you guys on Monday, unless something else breaks and happens. I will be back before you on Monday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Time for our weekly live show. Thank you so much again at McBean. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate your attention to this. Contact us at McBean Law at 914-898-9488 or email us at info@mcbeanlaw.com to go deeper about your individual circumstance. Thanks so much for being here today. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.